Here.
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 Here. Stand for the pledge to the flag. Skip it.
You want me to say that?
Yes.
Since there's no one from the public here, I won't make an announcement regarding public participation.
Okay, thank you. And we're not having any presentations this evening. We met in executive session tonight for personnel issues, Sorry. Approval of minutes. Looking for a request to approve the minutes of the school board meeting held on December 3rd, 2019, and the special school board meeting held on December 9th. Mrs. Cocker, second? Mr. Case? Or is it Mr. Schneider? Mr. Schneider did. Second. Roll call, please. I'm sorry. Voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, guys have it. Report, Mr. Martin.
Mr. President, I submit for approval the Treasury Report, the Investment Report, and the General Fund Reports as presented.
Great. Do I have a second to that?
Second case?
Mr. Case? Roll call, please.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
That's 9-4, 0 against.
Payment of bills, Mr. Martin.
Mr. President, I submit for approval the following payment for bills. General Fund for 12/16/19, $2,483,806.31. The General Fund for 1/6/2020, $2,131,377.59. The Capital Reserve, $92,907.02. The 2017B Construction, $430,215.97. And the 2019A Construction, $109,409.
Great, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second case?
Mr. Case? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Financial reports?
Submit for approval tonight the cafeteria report for November 19, child care report for November 19, and the activity accounts, Southern Middle School for 2019 November, Western Middle School November 2019, and the senior high for November 19.
Great, thank you. Do we have a second? Mrs. Cocker? Roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Superintendent's report?
Thank you, President Hart. This evening, I present the superintendent's report, personnel and program recommendations. I would also like to point out that we do have one retirement on the agenda this evening. I'd like to publicly recognize Lisa Frank, kindergarten teacher at Spring Ridge, for her 23 years of service to the Wilson School District. She will be retiring at the end of the school year 2020.
Great, thank you. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Martin, first, second. Dr. Kennedy? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
And Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Ratification of the following trips. 7.1, request permission to approve the high school baseball and high school softball teams traveling to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on March 11th to the 16th, 2020. Cost of the school district is 3 substitute teachers for 3 days and 3 days out of school for students. 7.2, requesting permission to approve the high school competition cheer traveling team to Orlando, Florida on February 6th to the 10th, 2020. Is that? Okay. No cost to the school district and 3 days out of school for the students. 7.3, request permission to approve the Wilson Theater Company, 40 students traveling to York College of PA and the Appel Center for the Performing Arts on January 2nd to the 4th, 2020, for International Thespian Conference. Cost to the school district is 1 substitute teacher for 2 days, and cost to the students is $200. Looking for a motion to approve these items? Yes.
When athletes or even curriculum folks are away, does that count toward their 5 days for the year for being away from school?
That is not. That is excused.
So, okay. Okay, all right, thank you.
For a motion?
Motion, Schneider.
Mr. Schneider first, second.
Second Negrini.
Mr. Negrini, roll call, please. I'm sorry, voice vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. 8.1, request to accept with gratitude the following donation from Michael Schaefer, Allstate Insurance Company, a 90-gallon fish tank and fish tank stand to the Green Valley Elementary School. 8.2, request approval of the representatives to the Spring Township Park and Recreation Board for the 2020 year, Keith A. Stam and William Herbine. 8.3, request approval of the appointment of Guadalupe Casper as our district representative to the Joint Operating Committee of Berks Career and Technical Center for 2020. 8.4, request approval of the appointment of Dr. Amy Kennedy as our district representative to the Berks County IU for 2020. 8.5, request to approve the appointment of our designated representatives of the PA school boards, Mr. Martin for legislative and for, what's the other one? Hold on a second. Where is it, Mr. Legislative and employee relations is I am, but there's two from PSPA representative currently holds this position, legislative chairman. No, I guess it was not. I apologize. All right, didn't mean to get y'all excited about your second position, so. Let me get this a little bigger here. Looking for a motion to approve. Pardon me, voice vote. Need a motion for make a motion, please.
Cocker.
Mrs. Cocker, second, please.
Second case?
Voice vote, please. All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Opposed? No? Thank you. Ayes have it. Human Resources, 9.1, request approval of childcare, perfect attendance bonus. 9.2, request approval of the transportation safety attendance bonus. 9.3, request approval to authorize appointment of Aaron Squibb to elementary supervisor of special education, $97,132, effective date to be determined, replacing Patty Dahl, who resigned. 9.4, request to approve building bulldog stipends for Angela Mitzcipher, Madeline Bohr, Susan Wales, Laura Burkholder, Nancy Snyder, and Jennifer Widener in the total amount of $5,000. The stipends will be for organizing the program and will be funded through Title IV grant. 8.5, request approval of part-time elementary music teacher at .7 position. I'm looking for a motion to approve 9.1 through 9.5. Mr. Negrini, second.
Second, Cocker.
Mrs. Cocker, roll call, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McCray? Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes,
9-4, 0 against.
thank you. And Dr. Fadley?
Aaron, congratulations. Please stand up. Welcome to the Wilson family. We're very excited to have you here.
Yes. Congratulations. Under Student Services, request approval for the resolution approving and adopting student discipline waiver and consent agreement dated December 3rd, 2019. 10.2, request approval of the doctor's, dentist, and game coverage for 2019-20 school year. 10.3, request approval of the memorandum of understanding with Berks County Children and Youth Services for foster care transportation. 10.4, request approval of the service agreement with Therapy Source. 10.5, looking for a motion to approve 10.1 through 10.4. Mr. Martin first.
Second, Schneider.
Mr. Schneider second. Roll call, please.
Mr. McCray?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Under 11.1, request approval of a contract between Wilson School District and the American Cancer Society to use West Middle School facilities from Friday, June 19th, 2020, at 7 a.m. until 4:00 p.m. on Saturday, June 20th, 2020, for the purpose of holding a Relay for Life fundraising event was set up on Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Looking for a motion? Mrs. Cocker first. Mr. Negrini second. All the, roll call, please.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
And Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9 for, 0 against.
Under Finance, 12.1, request approval of the budget transfers dated November 11, 2019 through December 10, 2019. 12.2, request approval to adopt the calendar year 2020 mileage reimbursement rate of 57.5 cents per mile, decreased by 0.5, by 0.5%, effective January 1st, 2020, in accordance with the IRS-approved mileage rate. Looking for a motion to approve finance items 12.1 and 12.2. Mr. Martin, second. Mr. Negrini, roll call, please.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9 for, 0 against.
Under Curriculum and Staff Development, 13.1, this is a great thing here, so I'm very excited about this. Request approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between Wilson School District and Kutztown University for Wilson students to attend Kutztown University at a reduced rate. The reduced tuition rate for on-campus courses, as well as applicable fees, will be 25% of the regular in-state tuition on a space available basis, and for off-campus courses will be 50% of the regular in-state tuition, as well as applicable fee pending solicitor review and approval. Now, does that cover, when they say off-campus, is that online courses?
That does cover.
That does, okay, great. And 13.2, request approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between Wilson School District and the Conrad Weiser School District for 2 students to attend Conrad Weiser School District for curriculum reasons, as attached, prorated secondary tuition based upon the 2019-20 PDE certified tuition rate not to exceed $4,000. 13.3, request to approve a professional services agreement with Tom Stecker, is that how you say it? All right. And associates totaling $13,000 for the 2019-20 school year and $10,000 for the 2020-21 school year as attached. Looking for a motion to approve 13.1 through 13.3. Dr. Kennedy first, second. Mrs. Casper. Roll call, please.
Is that unique to Wilson, or are other districts taking advantage of that?
They have other agreements. I'm not sure what the financial, I know other schools, the ones that are closer to town, obviously the Sun School District, it's going to take us all the time, Colonial Heights is very close. But I think, I don't know the financials, but that's a good deal.
That's a great deal.
That is nice.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9 for, 0 against.
Following policies are here for a third and final reading, and it's a long list. 247, hazing, no, policy 302, employee, superintendent, assistant superintendent, policy 311, reduction of staff, the old name was suspensions and furloughs, policy number 320, freedom of speech in non-school settings, policy 321, political activities, policy 322, gifts, policy number 331, job-related expenses, policy number 334, sick leave, policy number 335, family and medical leave, policy 336, personal necessity leave, policy 337, vacation, policy 347, workers' compensation transition return to work program, 351, policy 351, drug and substance abuse, old name was alcohol, drugs, and controlled substance abuse, and 351.1, pre-employment drug testing. Looking for a motion? Mrs. Cocker, second. Mr. Martin, roll call, please.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McRae?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
9 for, 0 against.
Great, thank you. Committee reports, Berks Career and Technical Center representative, Mrs. Casper, do you have any reports this time?
You want to defer to me for the last one?
That'd be great. Mr. Case, thank you.
So I'm going to miss BCTC, but I'm still going to be one of the greatest cheerleaders for the organization. I really, BCTC holds a special place in my heart. But I do want to start off with, and Ms. Casper is going to be a fantastic BCTC rep. She's already made the first dinner and meeting and everything, so she's well underway. I want to start off with some great student news for BCTC. The National Technical Honor Society inductees were honored in November since our last meeting. And the reason I want to mention some of the names here because for a couple of reasons. I love advertising the curriculums that are within BCTC, for one, and the BCTC students don't get enough credit as it is, I don't feel, and also for administrators and teachers to have an opportunity that when you don't see your students for half the day, you may not know what's going on in their lives at BCTC. So when you do see them, any of the students that are on this list, if not already, give them a attaboy or attagirl, and just they're doing fantastic there. So with that being said, Isaac Arnett, who's a junior, for carpentry. Alexander Konzeman, who's a junior for sports med and rehab therapy. Skyland Vasquez, junior for mechatronics engineering technology. Gavin Jacobs, a junior for precision computerized machining technology. Gabriel Messersmith, who's a junior for precision computerized machining technology. Jenna Myers for health occupations. Matthew Elia, a junior for precision computerized machining technology. Kelvin Rodriguez, a junior for sports med and rehab therapy. And Zoe Tedder, who's a junior for sports medicine. So if you see them, wish them well. They're doing a fantastic job over at BCTC. And then secondly, the students of the first quarter for the East and West campuses, there are 6 students. Isaac Arendt for carpentry, Grace Clay for dental occupations, Carrie Hunsinger for protective services and homeland security, Zoe Tedder for sports medicine and rehab therapy, Victoria Nolan for cosmetology, and Riley Walshberger for welding. So, give them all a hand for doing great work at BCTC. One thing that was really exciting at BCTC that came up was there's a Skills USA competition that starts regionally and then goes to the state level and then goes nationally. And now for BCTC, they have a set of, a pair of students from Fleetwood just made the paper a couple of weeks ago that they are going to the World Championships in Shanghai, China. And now they were at least invited. I'm not sure if they're going or not because quite a big commitment. They're already in college, and one of them is at Rochester Institute of Technology, and one is at Widener University. And it's important to say because any myth that going to BCTC doesn't get you in fantastic colleges is nonsense. So these folks are, these students are 19 years old, they're freshman year of college, and they've been invited, and what that entails is that they would need to go through and commit to 18 months of training, and then go to Shanghai, China and compete, which is a phenomenal thing. So I'm not sure what the decision was, but it's a pretty remarkable thing for BCTC to have students of that caliber go to the World Championship or be invited. So I thought that was some great news of some of the things that are going on over there. They need to get letters of recommendation from their college professors. If they're accepted, they will take part in 18 months of training and have to win another competition before being named to the world team. So they will need to weigh those options if they're going to go. Anyway, two other points. BCTC is going through the process of securing a $500,000 Perkins grant. Now, they typically go through this every year, but the way they have to submit for this is changing, so it's there's a little bit more rigor to it. But anyway, I want to mention that because they'll probably wind up getting it, and some of the things that they wind up doing with that is they spend the $500,000 on certifications, which Dr. Kraft, who's in charge of the BCTC, says oftentimes it's worth more than grades. Those certifications are really where BCTC likes to spend their money for professional certifications. Not that grades aren't important, but career-wise, they're important. Anyway, then lastly, the JOC approved a payment to RAG for the fall of 2019 and spring of 2020 terms for tuition, fees, and books for 21 Technical Academy students taking 98 combined credits at an amount not to exceed $24,000. The reason I bring that up is because you can get college credits going to BCTC in the things of IT networking, IT programming, mechatronics, and health occupations, and also business management and entrepreneurship. So it's always great when they're spending money on things like that, so I just wanted to kind of do a public relations announcement for that. So lots of good things going on there. Fantastic holiday meal. I'm going to miss that, but we are having our next board meeting
January 22nd, a Wednesday night.
at BCTC, so there'll be another meal there, which I'm excited about. And we're going to get all a tour there. And the next BCTC meeting that Guadalupe is going to go to is on January 22nd at the East Campus. So I hand the baton over to you, and you're going to be phenomenal. So it's a great organization. A lot less, what I love about BCTC is that there's just a lot less politics at the BCTC level than the local district. So, but I'll miss, running things past all the different counterpoints of the 18 other districts that are within Berks County. So, anyway.
Thank you.
That's my report. Thanks.
Berks County IU, Dr. Kennedy.
I do not have a report for the IU or the curriculum committee. We have not met.
Great, thank you. Berks EIT, Mrs. Schlossman.
Good evening. The Berks EIT Committee met on December 5th. We approved the calendar year 2020 EIT operating budget of $2.4 million and a capital budget of $117,000. The September and October 2019 financial statements were approved, and EIT distributions to the Berks County schools and municipalities were up $3.7 million compared to that in the prior year, which represents about 3%, which was great news for all. Phase 1 of the new tax processing system project will be rolled out this month, which includes implementation of the new online electronic filing systems for both employers and individuals. So that's something to look forward to. We are still, unfortunately, in arbitration with the former software developer, and that will be ongoing in 2020. And new officers were elected for calendar year 2020. Diane Richards is the chairperson, Wayne Garris is the vice chairperson, Rosemary Lamastra is the secretary, and I will be the treasurer.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I ran unopposed. The next quarterly meeting is scheduled for March 26th. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Extracurricular, Mrs. Cocker.
So I have the sports reports for all the teams, as Mr. Wolf used to do. The boys' basketball team is 9-1. Girls' basketball team, 3-4. Boys bowling, 8-1. Girls bowling, 9-0. Yes. Oh, and my daughter and I did a bowling league. Super fun. I encourage everyone to take their kids bowling. Rifle, 1-3. Boys swimming, 6-0. Great. Girls swimming, 6-0. They just won the Bucknell Invitational this past weekend, which is one of the premier swim meets in the state of Pennsylvania. Did I take a positive? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Scratch that. Wrestling, 4-2. And our extracurricular meetings will be on the second Monday of each month at noon in the pre-board meeting. So that's a change from the previous school year. So the second Monday at noon. And that's all I have so far.
Thank you.
If you want to ever see something funny, the girls' basketball coach, God bless him, decided that he was going to run a basketball camp for K-2 girls. And it's hysterical because he runs the big girls' practice, the high school girls' practice, and then immediately the little girls file in. It is the funny, they can't, I mean, they're 5, Blake is 5. Like, she can't, it was exciting when she could hit the ball, the net, just the whoosh of the net. So if you ever want to just get a giggle, it's really, really, really funny. And unfortunately, there's only about 15 girls that are doing it. And I just think back to the difference between my boys and my girls, and there's 100 kids that do, flag football and all the basketball camps, and to have only 15 of our girls take advantage of this super, and it's Sunday from 4:30 to 5:30, so you don't have to get up early in the morning. It's really pretty fantastic. We're enjoying it.
Great. Thank you. Facilities, Mr. Negrini.
We will be hosting a facilities workshop of the entire board next Monday, 6 p.m. here to discuss Crabtree and Rohrbach's feasibility study that has been long awaited. It is going to be a work in progress, but this will be a public presentation for the community to listen, provide some input as we consider options moving forward within the district and what it may look like years to come.
Thank you. I look forward to that session, as do many people. Finance, Mr. Martin.
No report. Our next meeting will be February 3rd at 4:30
Thank
in
you.
Christine's office.
Human Resources, no report, but our new meeting date will be the second Wednesday of each month at noon in Dr. Fately's office, right? Legislative, Mr. Martin?
Not much is going to happen in the next 2 months. I believe the House is only in session 8 days in the next 2 months, and the Senate's in 7 days, if I remember correctly. But one thing that's creeping into the agenda for this year, they're looking at the minimum, raising the minimum wage again. So that's going to be very time-consuming because there was a pretty huge battle for that last year. So that's going to be creeping in, and I'm not sure how much time by the legislature will be devoted to that, but that's going to be now one of the top 3 items to be discussed.
Thank you. Public Relations, Ms. Troutman?
Good evening. I have a couple of items to share with you. First, we want to congratulate all of our students who participated in this year's Wilson Spelling Bee and wish the best to our winners, Sindora Sridhar from Wilson Southern and Emmanuel Hansen from Wilson West. They'll be representing Wilson at the Discover Lehigh First Round Written Spelling Bee coming up in February, so we want to wish them good luck. We also want to congratulate the Wilson High School FBLA members who recently competed at regionals at Albright College. 20 of our students qualified for the state competition in April, so that's amazing. And I just wanted to share, this time of year obviously provides lots of opportunities for our students and staff to show their generosity. And I'm just going to share a couple of projects. There were a lot of projects, and I know Carolyn's going to share a few as well. But we're really blessed to be in an amazing school district with students and staff that really care about the community. So here's just a snapshot. Wilson West students and teachers spread holiday cheer as they delivered beautiful baskets to patients at the McGlynn Cancer Institute. It's the 10th year that West has been organizing this effort. Between the students, staff, and administration, donations were collected to fill 28 overflowing baskets. And the students spent the morning personally delivering the baskets, talking with the patients, and entertaining them with holiday songs. It was a great morning. Cornwall Terrace students recently celebrated their annual Season of Sharing project. Every year, these students and staff collect food for the Helping Harvest Food Bank. This year, our students reached their goal of collecting a ton of food, in addition to raising over $2,000 cash for the food bank. Again, another wonderful project. Many of our buildings and administration participated in Angel Tree projects to provide gifts for kids this holiday season. Lots of students and staff were volunteering their time to serve meals to those in need over the holiday. And again, these are just a few of many, many, many examples of projects that our students, staff, and administration have overtaken over the past few weeks to spread joy among our community. So I think that's a well done for the Bulldog team. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Education Foundation, Mr. Case?
Foundation, I just want to announce a BASH follow-up, which was an extremely successful evening. The numbers came in, record number of guests, including the most staff and administration in attendance to date. 173 people attended the event and raised $15,707, which was $3,300 more than last year. So great things over at the Ed Foundation. Spring venture grant applications will be accepted until Wednesday, January 8th. Allocations committee will make final approvals, and grant awarded will be announced, and the grants that are awarded will be announced the week of January 27th. This year, the employee giving campaign raised $4,905, and the WEF matching that amount to be able to give $9,800 out in grants this school year. So it's fantastic work by the WEF. And mark your calendars. I'm going to start talking about this until March. So mark your calendars for the Wilson Iron Chef 2020, which is going to be Sunday, March 22nd. And there's going to be an exciting new format, changes for this year, and look for more information soon. And just a note about that, the sponsor deadline, I believe, is still March 6th. So if you want to sponsor that event, please get in touch with Molly at the WEF office. And then the next WEF board meeting is scheduled for Friday, January 31st, in this room at 7:30 in the morning. So thanks, and hope everyone's having a great new year. So thank you.
Thank you. Technology, Mr. Schneider?
We haven't met yet. Our next meeting date is February 3rd. I will note there's a time change. It was previously at 4 o'clock. The meetings are going to be at 4:30 now.
Great, thank you. Student Outreach, Ms. Carolyn Patoric.
Hello. Before the break, many clubs in our school got into the holiday spirit and gave back to the community. Student Gov helped with the WEA yard sale and thanked the crossing guards and secretaries. Our Red Cross Club was recognized with a Youth Service Award for their generous volunteer hours. Leo Club organized a blood drive in the school to assist those in need. Minithon also raised money for the Four Diamonds Fund by giving parents the night out before the holidays. In addition, our Model UN Club won Best Small Delegation Award for the third time in 5 years. This week, Wilson Theater Company is performing Dracula on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you. Solicitor, Mr. Maravich?
No report, just, the next meeting's Wednesday, not Tuesday?
We had our work session next Monday at the 13th.
No,
and our-
the next regular board meeting.
Wednesday,
Okay, I have it on my
January
calendar.
22nd
Yeah,
at
okay.
Leesport,
Okay. I don't know why I have it on my calendar, it's Tuesday.
West Campus. Thank you. All right, any other business?
Wait, I don't think the 22nd is the next BCTC meeting.
Is it? It's Wednesday.
It's the 21st, which is a Tuesday.
That's the 22nd, Mrs. Carroll? Is it the 22nd?
Unless I crossed my
I
dates.
can't make Wednesdays.
Wednesday, the 22nd?
All right, we will check on that, see what it's advertised for.
Monday was
It was Tuesday.
Monday's the holiday.
They don't like
said
to
that
do it
they
the day
need-
after.
They need a day.
Oh, okay,
for the
so that's how we did
students
it
to
to
come
one.
in,
Yeah.
And then they can do it the following
Okay,
day.
so probably just accidentally put it on my calendar. that
For the
way,
next,
so.
yeah. Wednesday, the 22nd. Yes.
So, yeah, because that's the same night as the BCTC meeting.
What time's your
so
meeting?
You'll be at the East Campus that night if it's Wednesday.
Right.
So
Just have to
are
be
we
in
all
two
sure on
rooms.
the dates?
Yeah. If we need to. That's what we set up for. If we need to change it or look into it, we can do that.
Well, I'm just surprised the BCTC's doing that, because usually the chef and the students are having the dinner for
For the board members.
the board members for the JOC.
Well, it's a new challenge then for that staff.
Maybe reality show could come out of this, right? Could have, yeah.
Mrs. Carroll, can we check on that tomorrow and let the
All
board
right.
know, and if we have to adjust it
Yeah,
for
I
some
went back and
reason?
forth with Wendy Sigourney many times, and that's the date we came up with.
They
so
were okay with that.
I'll
Okay.
just remind her that they have their regular board meeting at the other campus. Is that what you're
Okay.
saying?
Thank you. If anything changes, let us
They
know.
should do the full meal for the board here, and then sack lunches for everyone else.
Unless we are doing sack lunches, but, all right, whatever.
I heard it was some type of fish, so, that's what I heard. Not a fan, but it is what it is. so. Looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Oh, thank you. Mr. McCray, Mr. Case, thank you. Meeting adjourned.